Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Thanks, OBS. Whatever. All right. Okay. I am thinking of... I have a few pieces in my head that I feel like I really need to kind of concept out. Really quick, make some quick adjustments here so the camera's not right in my face, or the phone camera, you know, that whole thing. There we go. There. Alright, looks like it's all in focus. Let's test with our little moleskin pamphlet, which I can't read, but that's okay. I just want to lock the focus and all that goodness. Alright. So, a couple pieces I have in my head. We'll start with a new Mermaid piece, which I mostly just have a mood, and I do not have an image in my head. So, this is always a little bit of a challenge. Right. For me, it's always the mood that comes first, and it usually will kind of take me a little while to find the image that I want. So the two kind of bigger Mermaid pieces that I've done have been the Azure Gardens, which is like very Tahiti inspired, and then the Maiden Isles, which is very like Mediterranean kind of vibes, right? So now I kind of want more of a rocky shoreline, probably temperate, more like what I grew up with in Northern California, like the Bodega coast, which I've kind of played with on one of them that I never really finished. Shit. Let's just see what I mean, there's the option of having... I'd started this other kind of Tahiti-inspired one before I landed on the Azure Gardens piece that I did. But it was kind of all of them, like... It was several maidens. Whether they're technically maidens or not, who knows. Chilling like on the beach, right, is what what I had in mind. And then in the distance, like, you see like a ship. But the only thing I didn't really have in that piece was a scale reference, right? Because in my world, the mermaids are large. You know, they're not human sized. They look humanoid, obviously, in the top, but they are much larger. And in some cases, much, much larger. So obviously, for TOS reasons, we can't get into crazy details right now because I don't believe in shell bras for mermaids. I just think it's ridiculous. But this is just concepting, right? So I don't want to get into crazy details right now. But I wanted to get, what I was thinking was like, you know, in Northern California, you'll often see like harbor seals and stuff kind of lined up on the beach, sunning themselves and stuff, or sea lions, you know, occasionally, though they're usually out on the rocks. It's usually the harbor seals that are kind of up on the sand. Yeah. But I like the idea, you know, that maybe they're kind of sheltering in you get a lot of like secluded beaches within, you know, sheltered by rocks and stuff like that. And then we can have like rocks further out, right? Rock formations. And then I would still love to get a ship out there. Whether it's actually a big 3-master or not, who knows? But maybe it is. Maybe it is anchored off shore somewhere. Though I feel like I'd want to have at least one of them noticing it. So maybe I would actually put one of them like out in the water. That would be kind of cool. Gonna bring some water into this. Since, as I say, this is more about creating a mood, right? It's not so much about the little details at this stage. I think this is on something. And today, by the way, I'm working in I think it's a Cottonwood Arts book. I went through because I was about to order some more small moleskins, right? Because I was like, I don't know how many more I have. And I looked, I'm like, okay, I've got one more, that's unopened. And I always like to have a backup or two. So, Miss Frizzle, what's up? How's it going? How you doing? We are concepting a new Mermaid piece. I have other pieces I want to do as well, but I'm going to start with this because this has the clearest idea and is maybe the easiest to concept while keeping it somewhat TOS friendly. Fucking TOS. I hate that shit. Oh, that's cool. Lurk away. I just had dinner myself. Quesadilla and a salad. I will just be thinking out loud over here. So, yeah, this, like I say, this is mostly about mood for now. Not trying to get into too many details just yet, So, what was I saying? I was saying some sketchbooks. Yeah, I was about to order some more, and then I was like, okay, well, I've got one unopened one, and like I say, I always like to have backups because you never know. I don't like to feel like, oh my god, I'm running out of pages, and it just fucks with the way you work and the way you use the paper and all that stuff. I don't like it. So, our Frosty, this is ink, but I am currently mixing water into it, and because it is a very water-soluble ink, just a fountain pen calligraphy ink, so it just explodes on contact, which I love. It makes for some nice effects, right? Nice moody kind of stuff. But yeah, so luckily, before I actually pulled the trigger on ordering another couple of little moleskins, I was like, well, let me look through, because I don't remember some of these, right? Because I have all my used sketchbooks up at the top of the closet. So I looked through and found a bunch that for some reason I didn't finish, and which is so weird because I don't usually start one until I've finished the previous one. Anyway, in that search I found this Cottonwood Arts one, so I was like, oh, okay, let's use it. Like, it's brand new. I hardly used it at all. So, yeah, I figure give it some love. So I have these pieces that I want to do. A mermaid piece I want to figure out. Right now I'm leaning toward the temperate thing, but I don't know if I don't know if those are the colors I want. Maybe, because it could be kind of fun. The colors are much more muted up, like in Northern California along the Bodega coastline. You have a lot of very gray rocks, dark rocks. The water doesn't get terribly bright. It's always a bit kind of grayish green, grayish blue, depending. the sand is not like beautiful white sand. It's kind of like a warmish gray. Lots of gray. But then you get the plants and stuff. Lots of green there. But I thought it could be fun to give the mermaids a bit of like some punch of color amidst all the muted tones. I think that could be fun. Just John, how's it going? Is my audio slightly behind the video? Oh, huh. Weird. I wonder why. I don't think it was doing that before. And I'm not sure if that's something that I can change while I'm... Glory channels, decay rate. Is there a way to delay? No, it's okay. That's weird. I don't know if it was doing that before, so I'm not sure what I could do about it just yet. I did change a couple things in OBS, which maybe I'll change back if it's too much of an issue. I'm just letting this dry a bit before I think I'll bring some marker into it. Let's see. Come here, markers. Is there an audio delay for other people? Sometimes it's a Twitch issue, sometimes it's a streamer issue. Yeah. So if there is a bit of a delay, let me know. Like I said, I'm not sure it's something I can fix immediately, but at least I can look into it afterward. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about kind of illustration in general. There's this, regardless of how anyone feels about the NFT market, I personally don't have any issues with it because, they're it's a work in progress, let's put it that way. And they're not going to make that progress unless people are actually using it. So, but one thing it has done, a good thing, is that it has changed the way that people look at and approach digital art, right? Like there's a bit more seriousness to it now, which I think is a good thing. But the same questions as have come up pre-NFTs, right, within the traditional art market. Like the same questions come up now within digital art, and which is like, as soon as you introduce collectors into the equation, it kind of changes how we approach it and what we think of as art and all that stuff, because all of a sudden it's not just concept art, right? It's not just like, oh, this is part of a process that goes into creating a video game or a film or whatever, digital art was being used for. It now kind of brings in the whole not concept art but conceptual art, right? Which I've always had mixed feelings about, because it's a little too easy to bullshit with that stuff. I feel like it's too easy to just create an image and then like come up with some story or concept behind it. Tried to develop a method for drawing, definitely takes a bit of getting used to. Yes, it does take, there's a learning curve, but I do feel like it's a pretty fast learning curve. And be thankful that, unlike me, you are not learning it on the job. That was interesting. It was, when I was taught that method, I was freelancing. It was my first day freelancing with a new client. And they were like, oh, this is how we work here. And so the head of the department gave me a demo. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I instantly saw the potential, but again, I'd never done it before. Luckily, whatever, I could always rely on my drawing skills, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was, a little nerve-wracking, I guess. A little scary. It was a client that I'd wanted to work with for a long time, because they were one of the biggest agencies around and one of the older agencies around. So I was just yeah. But it also kind of ended up being that they sort of had a particular drawing style too that they were looking for, not just technique, but they just had a style that they had already kind of been working in for years and years, and it wasn't really my style. It was a little too flowy for me, which is a little weird to say, but I think my stuff had a bit more grit in it than they wanted. I still did some work for them, off and on, but I think at a certain point it was only when they were up against it and needed extra help. But hey, they taught me that technique with vellum, so I am infinitely grateful. I can't complain. And then I chose to use Duraline instead of tracing paper. They did everything on tracing paper, but after a while, I was just like, nah, I don't like that much tooth when I draw. But it took a while. I did tracing paper for a long time. Well, not super long, I guess. I think I only used tracing paper for maybe a year, maybe. When I think about it, I just did a shit ton of sketches in that year, so I think it feels like it was longer than it really was. Playing with the idea of maybe kind of wet sand. Yeah. Maybe something like that. John, did you enjoy doing it? Yo, our Frosty. 4 months. 4 months. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's really fun, and once you get used to it, it really is very forgiving, which I think makes it even more fun. I'm debating if I want to actually do more on this or just move to the next one, because I don't really feel like I need to. I was almost going to like play with a little bit of color, but I don't really think I need to. I feel like that's better done in a later thing. This is more about composition. But again, there's scale issues, and it's a hard one to get across, right? Because we see them and we assume that they are human sized, but it's Razatron. Welcome, hello, John. It's not. I don't know if there's not a story per se. It's more, there's a world, and at times, yes, I will come up with a story for a specific image. A lot of times I'll come about as I'm working on it, right? So I will, I'm going to link my previous 2 paintings, although that one's not the best version, or I should say not the latest version. So let's get the latest version. Can I open this one? Oh, sweet. Sweet. All right. So let's look at, we've got this one and this one. All right. Now, it's subtle, but like in the Tahitian one, the girl pouring water is significantly smaller, right? The skulls embedded in the dock are significantly smaller than their heads are, right? Same with the other one, the Mediterranean one. The skulls that they are playing with or admiring are smaller than their own. So this at least is a scale indicator for me to play with, right? Yeah, and in my mind, they actually get even like much bigger than that. They might start out smaller, right? Just like any baby thing does. But in my mind, they get big, right? Like, I don't know, orca size, like huge. And they live for like centuries, and I don't think they're immortal. but I think they might as well be. Meaning immortal, meaning not unkillable, simply, living infinitely until something kills them is what I was meaning. They're definitely killable, as some of the stories in my head would prove. I think shit, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Maybe I will. Let's see. I'm gonna look real quick. I'd started one, and it was kind of playing with an idea, and I was also playing with the sort of 360 panorama stuff, painting in 3D in Photoshop. So I was kind of toying with an idea there, of course, that I never finished. I really wanted to finish when I got my new PC, but of course, fucking NVIDIA can't get off their ass and get us more 3070s or 3080s, so my current video card can't really push that 3D stuff too hard. It's not the Photoshop 3D. Where is that? Oh, here it is. Here. All right, so I played with this idea. It's a Facebook link. I have no idea how it'll react to people, but so this image is a 360, right? You can pan around basically, and it's just a rough. I've actually taken it further since, but I haven't posted it anywhere. Yeah, super cool. So you have these poachers, right? That are going after this like young mermaid who is about their size or even a little smaller. And then the one dude is like, you guys, we might have a problem, right? Because big bad mama is not happy. So this gives you an idea, right? Now she's a bit more, she's like all cut, and she's got all these crazy like horns or who knows what growing. I was even thinking like maybe some barnacles or something. I don't know. Whatever old things have on them in the ocean. Right? Whales get barnacles on them. So, yeah. So that gives you an idea, right? Of that they keep growing as they get very, very old. Super fun stuff to work on. A pain in the ass though if your computer doesn't do too well with it. Plus, if you've done any 3D in Photoshop at all, holy shit, Photoshop is so clunky, but it's like the potential for that kind of illustration is so awesome. And I haven't really messed with Blender, so I don't know. I have no idea, like, if you can fully paint stuff up in Blender in the same way. The grease pencil looks amazing for, like, drawing and stuff. I definitely want to look more into, like, other ways of doing these things, because it's really fun, and it kind of pushes your brain a little differently, right? Similarly, we could look at I love this track from Battlestar Galactica, Prelude to War. So dope. I did another one that didn't go as far. It was just black and white, but again, it was a test, right? This one's on ArtStation, so if you don't have an ArtStation account, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. I have no idea. But this is another one that, you know, you can pan around all these. You know, I figure tropical forest, they don't wear a lot of clothes, right? We just have to look at like rainforest natives to know that. So, whatever. But they've got a dragon problem. Now this one was a trip because I was dealing with all kinds of different angles. Super fun though, like just pushes your brain in different ways. And what's also really fun about the 360 stuff is that you don't have to just be like, okay, what's my one lighting scenario, right? Because it's 360, so you're gonna have things that are, you know, backlit potentially, depending on how low the light source is. You're gonna have things that are front lit, possibly bottom lit and top lit, like who knows what, right? Super, super fun to do. Even just in like I love sketching, so to me I don't always feel the need to like take things further. I think it's super fun just just doing roughs and getting the idea there, and boom, okay, on to the next one. But yeah, super, super fun. Anyway, we'll keep jamming here in the sketchbook. On to the next one. I have this little protector sheet because if I use marker, right, it'll bleed through. So I gotta make sure it's protected. So we might start this one a little different. I like to switch it up when I do stuff. Sometimes pencil is nice because you might like part of what you lay down, but then some of it you want to change. So it's, you know, it's good to be able to change it. Then I'll bring ink in, and I'm not going to go tight on the pencil, but it is a way to just kind of block it in. I also don't like. I like the idea of a ship, right? Of a ship off on the horizon, and the mermaids are noticing it, and so if we start there, actually, let's flip it around. Right, the very Howard Pyle ship on the horizon kind of a thing. I mean, it's not like on the horizon because it would have to be much smaller than this, but whatever. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be anchored, right? We could have it. It's maybe it's sailing, looking for a place to drop sail and anchor, right? Because ships with their sails just look so cool. And so what I'm thinking is like I wouldn't mind. My idea with those poachers, right, is that like if we look at the one from that's like very Mediterranean, like in my mind that takes place way before the poacher one. Shadow Walk, what's up? Yeah, we're thumbnailing mermaids tonight for a new mermaid illustration, so I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah. So I was showing people that, that one I think I'd shown you of the poachers, right? The mermaid poachers, that 360 where you can like pan around and stuff. So what I was saying was that the one, that Mediterranean inspired one, I envision taking place like way earlier, and then at a certain point, like people have begun like hunting the mermaids, and the mermaids have like retreated to the kind of far reaches, right? And one of the things is that their scales are extremely valuable, like more so than gold, right? Because they're more finite than gold. So that's actually what the poachers are. Yeah, with the giant one, right? Yes, that one. Yeah, so the poachers are actually looking for mermaid scales. And at that point, I feel like not a whole lot of people have actually seen mermaids. So when they talk about them being big, like it's more like stories that have been passed down. And so they see the one that's small and they're like, she's not that big. This is going to be easy. And then, of course, Big Mama shows up and they're going to be fucked. So, yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking like this maybe is around that time. So I think I want one off in the water, and maybe she's like pointing at the ship, and she will probably look more alarmed, And then we can have some rocks and stuff up in the foreground where we can get some others, maybe this one's turning to look like, oh, what is she freaking out about? Right. Not that I don't know if these rocks would be that comfortable for like chilling on, but we can get some that are just kind of like basking in the sun. Yeah, and Shadowwalk, one of these days I'm gonna finish that 360. Problem is my current video card is not happy pushing the 3D in Photoshop. It like, plus the new, now I don't know if they've updated it, but when I changed over to Photoshop 2020 to CC 2020, CC? Yeah. Right? Creative Cloud, yeah. 2020. The 3D was so buggy compared to what it was in 2018 and 2019 that I was just like, I can't do this. I was having to restart Photoshop every like 20 minutes or something. I'm like, I can't. this is not working. Not gonna happen. So on a, I don't know, creepier note. I don't know if it's creepy or not. I like, one thing in this world I've been thinking about is, are there mermen? And I don't know. What I started to think is like, are they almost like sea Amazons, if you will, right? Where they actually need human men to reproduce. And maybe that's the purpose of the siren song, right? To lure them in. And maybe there aren't mermen. But I don't know. And then what do? Are they all fished out? Do they just lay their eggs on the rocks and dudes, do their business? I don't know. It starts to get into some uncomfortable details that I have not quite thought through all the way yet. I'm okay with it getting a little uncomfortable and TV MA, because I don't really do children's stories, to be honest. Thus, no shell bras in my world. It just doesn't make sense. And I wouldn't mind actually having some rocks that are further out, a little further out. So we could get a couple that are close up, but then I wouldn't mind like kind of staggering them a bit, and they'd have to be bigger than her though, right? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's something I've thought about, and it kind of depends on, how I want to approach them, I guess. Because otherwise, like, what's the purpose of the siren song? Or do they even have one? And in my world, yes, they do. They absolutely, like, their voice will ensnare people, but does it only ensnare men, perhaps? I kind of like that idea that, one thing that's intriguing to me about that is that, like, beyond it's like anti-misogyny, right? Beyond reproduction, they literally have no use for males. Poor dudes. They're useless. They have one purpose. Because these mermaids are strong as fuck, so they don't need dudes to lift heavy shit for them. Aw, poor guys. Yeah, and I like that. I've always liked that Amazonian vibe. I think it's cool. It's intriguing. There's a mystique to it. That I don't know. I dig it. I think there's validity to that. I just wanted to move this ship a little bit over. Obviously, it's a thumb. Nothing's final. We're gonna get some rocks and shit out here, bigger, rock formations and whatnot, to kind of like populate our space a little bit. And she's like, dude, there are people, and at this point, like I said, maybe they've kind of fled from humans, so it's not a good thing. But what I like is, unless I tell the story, we don't necessarily know what her reaction is about. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking about that, and it's like, as much as I want to tell a story and have it be very specific, I think there's power and validity in letting people project their own story, right? In that, okay, I will tell the story that I want to tell, but if someone finds something else in it, it's not wrong, right? Is kind of the idea. Exactly. But that's also where I'm like, how exactly does that work? You know? Their bottom half is a fish. But, you know, that's also where it's like, even if I were to write a story in this world, obviously you don't have to go into every scientific detail, right? Like we can leave some stuff to the imagination. Like we are going to here, because TOS will not be happy if I spell everything out. And I'm mostly just doing this to be able to kind of block in values and stuff. It's not about details and whatnot. Daddy, I love him. Teenagers. You give them an inch, they swim all over it. I can't tell you how many times my girlfriend and I have gotten Ariel and Eric when we go to Disneyland. Yeah, I'm trying, part of it is that it's like I have some pieces now that I really want to figure out, and so I was like, you know what? Let's try concepting on stream. I have no idea how effective it'll be, but I guarantee I will land on some ideas at least. So I'm just trying to work out a more, an in-depth illustration, some mermaids that we can do for Mermaid. I'll do some sketches too for Mermaid, but I really want to do another more fleshed out concept. Yeah, I like this. I like, I'm enjoying where the storytelling is going. I have no idea if this is like the best version or not. I think it's always worthwhile to explore a bit and see. Sometimes you land on something really quick, but even if I'm like, yeah, this is the one, I still like to do one or two more to be sure. And sometimes those might just be tweaking ideas. I might just say, well, okay, what if it is this one, but we do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Right? And see, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, nope, that was a stupid idea. I should have just stuck with the first one. Or in this case, the second one. But I do like this story, and that goes a long way. So, we'll see. I think we need to get some more rocks. I want this shoreline to be a bit treacherous, right? Because otherwise, why the hell would they retreat here, right? If it's not somehow protected. We'll get some spray happening, waves breaking on the rocks and whatnot. And the other thing I've been thinking about is also a it could be Bella Noir's ship. Is she a mermaid hunter? Dude, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. The other thing that I want to do at some point is like a dragon series, and one of those would be kind of reworking this one in some way, and then like expanding the series, and maybe it's like sorceresses and sorcerers summoning dragons, and it would be fun to play with different like climates and different elements and all that stuff. I think that would be, so we could really play with different types of dragons and whatnot, because dragons are just fun. So that's another idea that I'm toying with. Okay, this paper really needs to stay flat. It's annoying me. But yeah, I don't have like clear ideas for that. But I have like a kind of general, concept. Of kind of realms that I could play in. Flat paper is that thing before you add water to it. That dragon was fun. And that was done. I actually did a few illustrations I really liked when we, early on when I started working full-time for Bond. And I think it was, I can't remember if it was while Autumn was still freelancing with Bond or if he had come on full-time by that time too. But Autumn, myself, and at the time, the main finishing artist, was we were doing this like, I think we did a weekly illustration challenge or something, and we would just trade off in terms of like who came up with the topic each week, right? So we just cycled through. One week it would be me, then Autumn, then Greg, then me, then Autumn, then Greg. Right? And so it was a lot of fun. And then we had a week to just kind of do whatever we were going to do. And this one, I am totally blanking on what the topic was, but I can find it real quick. Was the illustration challenges. The Elder God. That's what the topic was for this one, was the Elder God. And so, my mind went to like Final Fantasy VI, which is why I titled that one Leviathan, because I always loved summoning Leviathan in Final Fantasy games. He was just so cool. Hated having to fight him before you could summon him, but once you defeated him and you were able to summon, then he was a badass. So yeah, it was a fun challenge, and I got a few pieces that I still like out of it. I could do them better now, but there's a lot that I still like about them, including that piece. I could paint it better. I think I would have a little better eye for some of the little details without having to really get that much tighter. Water dragons are fun. And so that's where I was thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, I could play with different elements. I'm like, well, but there aren't that many different elements, so maybe we could get more specific, right? Because that is very much based on the coastline of where I grew up, right? On the Bodega Bay coastline, up in Northern California. And so I was like, all right, well, maybe you would get a different type of dragon in that, northern temperate climate versus, if you had, like, just in terms of water dragons, right? Tropical versus subtropical versus, maybe dragons that would live closer to shore versus deep water, deep sea dragons or open water dragons, and then way up north, Arctic, Antarctic type of climates and all that stuff, and then get into deserts and inland and flying dragons and landlocked dragons and all kinds of stuff. FF15, I didn't play that. I stopped playing. Honestly, I pretty much stopped playing after Final Fantasy VI because I was pissed when they went to PlayStation just because they wanted better graphics, and then FF7 looked like shit anyway. So I was like, you guys left for better graphics, and I can't even tell where the hell I'm walking because you guys just didn't do it right. But I was like what was Final Fantasy 2 and 3 in the US, right? So 4 and 6 in Japan. Those were my jam. I mostly played 6. My brother loved the hell out of 4, but I would watch him play that a lot. And I loved watching him play. It was so much fun. And it was fun to like just kind of watch the story unfold. Not necessarily be concerned with actually playing the game, just like watch someone else deal with the nitty gritty. So I didn't really play it much, and then I think I did some. I forget what I did. I think I'd done some storyboards or something for like some of the trailers and stuff based around Final Fantasy X, and just kind of got me wanting to play it. So I played it when it came out, and then I was like, oh my god, How long do I have to walk down this stupid hallway? Correct. Shadow Walk. Yeah, I always think of Lamias as being like more freshwater, right? Because I think of them as being part snake, and while there are sea snakes, there are way more freshwater snakes. So, and technically they are part snake, right? They're not part fish. So yeah, I always think of them as being more freshwater. And of course there's something creepy about that. Right? If you ever like I grew up swimming in the Russian River up in NorCal, and it's not like it's clear water. So there's something creepy about large things being able to hide in that water. And if you've ever been in murky seawater, that shit's creepy too, because you don't know what the hell's going to come out of the gloom. I'm just using marker here, right? Remember, we struggled to find our markers last stream. I have kept them out since. Oh man, it was weird. Now, strictly speaking, this water would not be, unless we had like a low-hanging sun, as I do love to do. I do love doing that. I mean, similar to that water dragon piece, right? That's like pretty much a low-hanging sun. I love that kind of lighting, which is probably why I tend to do it sometimes. I mean, hell, this looks like it could be in the same scene as that. Come on, as that water dragon piece, right? Yeah, I think of. I also think of Lamias as being solitary. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Maybe because snakes are solitary? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So we could do that kind of low-hanging sun, just because that is such fun lighting to play with, right? Which means I'll want to get darker on this stuff up close. But then we can kind of play with, this kind of... Obviously, you wouldn't get reflections like this. This makes it look like it's all placid. We'd want to get... We'd have to get a more tumultuous bit of water in there. What are we on, a T3? All right, let's do T5 on, at least on the rocks. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, and I think like I really don't know where my assumptions started though. That lamias were like one-off, like solitary creatures. Because my first introduction to them was actually the character Blue in Breath of Fire. Right, that was my first introduction to the lamia. And of course, as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, she's so hot." Of course, they just have like crazy cleavage showing, so it didn't take much. But you know, but I do like the idea that maybe the mermaids have some more kind of robust coloring and stuff, you know, and amidst this very kind of drab, stark, like not extreme, but you know, a little more extreme environment. Um, Sorry, some of these got a little too similar in shape. This thing and that thing are too, like, they're the same size and basically the same shape, and I don't like it. Not good. Not good. Usually something to be avoided is that kind of repetition. Unless it's man-made, obviously, then repeat away. But if it's not, so I do like what's happening there. I think that's fun. Hmm. I'm debating if I want to play with a vertical kind of motif, but I feel like if I do that, I need a good reason for it. But the other thing we need that we don't have, and this is going to be a recurring theme, right? And it's a further bit of storytelling too. We still need some human skulls that give us that scale reference, right? And I love the idea, and it's something that I don't think I got in that. In that 360 piece. I don't think I'd gotten around to it. At least not in that iteration that I put online. I should post the updated version. I did take it further. It's not like way further, but I want to say I may have added another dude in there too. I think I started getting the skulls in here, right? And my idea was that, by the way, for anyone, sorry, I'm scrolling around it here. For anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about. This 360 piece that I posted on Facebook a while ago. But what I was gonna do is I was gonna get these human skulls, right? So one, I just love it as a scale indicator because, you know, creepy. And it's like, what the hell? They just like treat them like toys or something, you know, or just like any old decoration. So I wanted these kind of skulls amidst the rocks, the nooks and crannies in the rocks and stuff. And then even what I was gonna do is I was even gonna have some like old, like rusted weapons and stuff like that, just to show that like clearly people had been there before. Clearly humans had like, you know, tried to do something and utterly failed. And Big Mama tells us why. Right. So I think just getting those in there, and I like the idea that maybe they also like kind of leave them strewn about or placed. Perhaps I don't hate the idea of placing some of them on spears. I mean, that'd be kind of fun. As a warning, you know, especially at this point, like clearly now they've been hunted. Who knows? Maybe humans invented earplugs or something, and I don't know. But also, like, I've been kicking around, so I've been slowly sort of building this fantasy world, because every time I kind of come up with different things, after a little while I feel like, you know what, these kind of fit in the world with whoever, right? So like the dragon girl that we drew on stream, whenever that was, last Monday, I think, a week ago, right? Like, to me, she fits in the world with the mermaids. And along with right, they could be. She's like, oh, Eric, I loved you most of all. Ariel has some issues. And one of the reasons that I've been kind of thinking about, like, well, do these fit in the same world as whatever else, is because I feel like when it comes to writing, which I do want to do at some point, you know, like, I think there's some authors who kind of are constantly trying to come up with something new in every book, right? And I understand that. But then you have others that maybe are building a much longer term world, right? That they can kind of jump back into. They know the rules of that world, right? They've established the rules of that world, whether it's a magic system or just the types of creatures that live in there. And then they can kind of jump in and tell different stories within that world. And so that's where I like the idea of having these things take place, you know, in the same... It doesn't have to be at the same time, but in the same world. Right, so are sea elves, right? Um, our sea elves are part of this world as well. These guys, right? Fiona and Cyan Manus are part of that world, right? Our little redhead girl. Fiona. With her big giant, I don't even know what it is. It's like a snow leopard / clouded leopard that's like the size of a tiger. Right. So and even in a way, I kind of feel like maybe at a different time, obviously different place, monk and fish could even be part of this world, though more like younger audience approach, right? But there's a similarity, just the stuff that I've developed for their world. There's a similarity to where I'm like, you know what? I kind of like the idea that it's sort of the same world, just told at a different time or whatever. And like I say, a different place. I guess we could see it a little more in this piece because it's less stylized. Still stylized in shape, but less in terms of finish style. But yeah, that's a hard one to get away from, Shadowwalk, and yeah, there's a point where, I mean, people, I think partly it's, you know, the Asian inspired, but at this point I don't mind. You know, for fantasy, I prefer to take a little more from Asian shapes. It's just growing up on Indian mythology and stuff. It's just kind of what I gravitate toward. But yeah. So anyway, I feel like all those could kind of be in the same world, and like to that point. Also Sangiovanni, which sounds very Italian, but it's actually Indian. An Indian-inspired name, Sangiovanni. So, come on, you gonna, no, not gonna. Sorry, I'm resizing the chat here, and it wasn't cooperating. Anyway, to that point, I've even toyed with the possibility, maybe. I'm very hesitant to put the cyber elves in the same world as Dakota, but Dakota's world, I feel like, is a much more rooted in just like gritty reality, kind of. But aesthetically, they fit well together, so it's so tempting to do that. But I just don't. I don't know. That would change a lot of things. Plus, Dakota kind of looks like I, if I had black hair. Especially when I have Dakota with her. Because I gave Dakota the red Lennon glasses first. These, right? I just has like the giant, like Prada versions. But I don't know. There's something about Dakota's world that's sort of, I don't know. Her and the cyber elves feel like they kind of have a lot in common. But I'm hesitant to go there with her because it was never like my intention with Dakota was like, no, there are no aliens. It's just humans. Not getting into weird, like crazy, hard sci-fi or anything like that. It's just a mode for storytelling. I'm trying to think of... Is there something I want to do different? This one is simplistic. There's still a nice vibe to this. I don't hate this. You know, like as a thumbnail, like that just reads really nicely. This one, my only issue is that this starts to get a little more about the details and less about that graphic read. I'm going to do another take on this because I think it would also help if I dropped that horizon line down and had her cutting above the horizon line. Just from a graphic standpoint, you know, she could be pointing this way and we could get the ship somewhere here. I feel like that could help a lot. A lot. And so, you know, this is part of the... I'm actually surprised that marker does not go through here. I wonder if... I forget, these Cottonwood books, they may be built for marker, because it's all like product designers that design these books, so I wouldn't be surprised if they build it with marker in mind, because that marker is not bleeding through at all. And I'm a little surprised. I really thought it would, but it ain't. So that's cool. That's cool. All right. All right. We'll do quick and dirty. Switching it up. So I still like the one looking over. This is one where the pose would definitely matter. Like, how is she looking over in alarm at the word of warning from the other mermaid? In which case, how would she do that? I don't mind having an arm out here even. I mean, these kinds of details, obviously I can figure them out much later. It doesn't matter too much. This really is more about graphic design, right? But I do like having that horizon line lower. I like that better already. So that's cool, right? If we get some rocks over here. Yeah, there's something nice about that first one, right? I feel like there's a nice quick read to it. But I don't know if I want, that ship could be dead center. I actually don't, or more, almost dead center. I don't mind that, actually. And then we can, let's figure this out the other way. I mean, she was sleeping, but maybe she's kind of like, what's she on about now? Like maybe the one warning everyone is she like the hypochondriac of the bunch, where she's always just like, no, don't do that, or you'll catch the consumption, or whatever. And she's always freaking out about one thing or another. No, it's not a Never Cry Wolf story. That's dumb. I feel like, though, ultimately, I'm going to have to make the ship smaller, because that's way too close. Like, so many people, they would have noticed it if it was that close. Right. Yeah, no, I agree, Shadowhawk. I totally agree. This one is much more about storytelling. So it kind of depends on where I want to lean. Do I want to lean into heavy narrative, or do I want something where, the initial impression is like, oh, that's a really nice image, and then the storytelling is secondary, right? And there's nothing wrong with either of them, honestly. Like, both the ideas, I think, those approaches work, and it's fine. So I don't know. There's something. But let's see. I feel like that ship is going to need to get smaller. Yeah, we can do that later on, but we can also do it right now. Like, kick it way back on the horizon. So it's not like a first read necessarily. Are human skulls like they're stress balls or something? It's fucked up. Oh, you think like that's happening at the same time? That'd be kind of fun. Although in my mind, Bella Noir is in the Caribbean because like everyone is, I don't know, to me dressed in that kind of way. But I mean, whatever. There are tons of islands in the Caribbean, so if this was a place like that, there are a lot of places that mermaids could hide. But of course, the light would be very, very different. I wonder if I have any of those. Pictures. I took some amazing pictures in the Caribbean. But that was like, I don't know if they're, when was that, 2018? 2017? There was this evening we'd gone out because, like, I mean, the beaches were just packed during the days. So we popped over in the evening, and the sunset was phenomenal, and the clouds, and the ocean was so calm. It was wild, but I don't know if I posted the pictures anywhere. No, that's Tahiti. Tahiti, but man, that water in Tahiti. Oh, so good. So amazing. Shit's taking forever to load. Annoying. How annoying. Who's in Mexico? I feel like I must have posted them. Damn, Facebook, you're slow. No wonder I never use you. The only times I post to Facebook is like through Instagram. No, that's France. It's a vacation before that. Oh, I miss vacation. I want to go places. I don't like just staying here. It's stupid. Hello. What's the first place people are gonna go when they can, when things open up a bit? I think we're gonna go to Crete. I'm pretty sure. think that'll be the first place. Did I not post? How weird. These are getting old. Nice. Nice. Oh, right on. Welcome, Willie. I'm glad you could catch it too. Weird. Did I not post those pictures? That's hard to believe. See, Venice and France. Huh. Weird. That's crazy. Yeah, we're just, what are we doing? We are doing thummies. Because I want to do some more mermaid stuff, illustrations. So we're just gonna like rough some stuff in. I'm determined to find these. I'm sure I posted them somewhere, but I have a hard time believing that that I would have posted them on Instagram and not Facebook. Probably would have been quicker for me to just like grab them on my phone and upload them to Discord. Sometimes, though, you just have to be stubborn and take the long way around. What are you gonna do? We got our nice chill Battlestar music going on. Do I have the... No, I don't. I've done 2 versions of this. One of the interesting things was like finding some of these older sketchbooks, which is kind of, I like to go through and just sort of see like, hey, what did I have? Are there some cool ideas, right? Were there cool ideas that I had that, because I mean, all thumbnail stuff, and of course then I'm on to the next one and I forget about it. And so it's always nice to kind of go back through and kind of see that, hey, no, there was something there, right? Something cool in that concept or whatever, Are we getting there? Are we getting there? Maybe. I'm going to be annoyed if I don't actually have these pictures anywhere. Oh, I do. Yay. I'm not crazy. I did post them. All right. Check it. Here we go. So, the water was amazing. The sky was amazing. I don't even remember why I absolutely had to share these, but they were amazing. Oh, and the random little restaurant kitty was super cute. um, so, Caribbean, right? We could do something like that. I don't hate the idea, right? Those clouds were pretty phenomenal, and that would be just kind of a fun compositional element to get. But that could also be an excuse to try a vertical thing, you know, to get some awesome clouds in there. Like I don't hate that idea. It could be kind of cool. Hmm. Yeah. 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 All right. All right. Let's get some ink and water on this. Get that shit going. Um, Willie, how are you doing tonight? We are here doodling, but doodling with purpose today. It's not like Thursday when I was like, I really don't know, I don't have any ideas, so we're just gonna see what happens. This is more you know, at least wanting to accomplish some stuff. I may call the stream a little earlier tonight just because I think I'm gonna try and get up early tomorrow to finish off some stuff and make room for more stuff. We are strategically censoring with hair, even though in the actual piece I probably won't bother because it's silly unless it actually fits whatever. We will try not to piss off the Twitch gods, puritanical as they might be. She's got her comfort skull with her. Security skull. That's what it is. So we got one of them closer to the ocean here, right? Start to get a little bit of a scale and like size variation to play with. And then we've got her out here. Just being like, yo. I'll have to research if I decide, hey, this is taking place in the Caribbean somewhere. I'll have to kind of research some of the different islands and rock formations there, right? Which is fine. It could be fun. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where all this goes. And then how we want to, would we want to approach these clouds here? I always like that the composition of having like that kind of light streak on the horizon. I think that's always a lot of fun to play with. So we can do that. Of course, this will start to get probably more detailed than we need to go, but whatever. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I think especially like once we get, a bit of values established, I feel like it'll work better. Like it'll be a stronger composition, simpler in a way. Even if there's almost more stuff going on, I feel like it'll actually be a simpler overall composition. And there are any number of ways I could approach this, right? I mean, I could do this digitally and just like keep refining and refining until I get to something that I feel is very strong. But I don't know. There's also something I enjoy about kind of starting over when I want to change my idea a little bit, you know. There's something to that process that I think can be very valuable. Rethinking, and then sometimes as you're doing that, then you rethink one thing, and then other ideas pop into your mind, and you're like, oh, hey, yeah, let's run with that. Let's unpack that concept a little bit and do something a little different. Yeah, because if you're only working on the same piece, say if I was doing this in Procreate or something, where I could just change little bits, you will start to get attached to parts of it, and you don't want to change it, even if maybe you should, right? Even if maybe it's not the strongest thing, but you just happen to like how you did a portion, or you just really want this one thing to work, but it's just not going to, no matter what you do. You know? And then mileage, of course. Can't replace mileage. We'll see once I get the marker in here, you know, so I can kind of simplify some of these dark shapes, unify the stuff a bit, right? What's up, Paradox? You know, my brother does stuff in coffee all the time. He loves it. He's super into it. Let's see here. So most of the stuff on his feed there is all done with coffee. He's a fan. Or at least for a while, for a good chunk of that. I guess it's more recent. I'm just letting this dry before I bring the marker in. We can always speed that up a little bit. Speed it along. All right. Marker. Plus, I'm not using watercolor, Paradox. This is just ink with water, strictly speaking. And coffee is even more chaotic than watercolor, because watercolor, at least once it dries, it takes a bit. Like, you can wet it again and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. Coffee, on the other hand, you get that stuff wet again and it's like this ink, it just explodes. So it's even more chaotic. If you're gonna give me shit, do it right. Let's do T2, where you at? I think it's a little dry, maybe. Just switching over to a T2 marker, so it's a little bit lighter. Not like Terminator, just, 20%. I ain't got no Terminator markers. And basically, my idea is that light strip on the horizon would be the brightest thing in here, right? We might get some like glistening on stuff, rim lights, potentially. But overall, this would be the brightest spot. Marie XOXOXOXO. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Layla Marie. Layla. Am I saying that right? So, yeah, we get that, as being the lightest thing in here. Of course, now this page does not want to stay down. Stay down, asshole. And then we can come back in with our T3 a bit, and I'll bring in like a 50% as well to darken some of this stuff up a bit more. But just catching these bits that are closer, like closer than the clouds, just to create a little bit of separation. I don't mind lost edges, as we all know. I quite enjoy them, but just for the sake of like atmosphere and stuff. But you also have to be careful. Like, let's say if we decided, yeah, this is in the Caribbean, the atmosphere is very different down there than it is in a more temperate place like Northern California, where you'll get a lot more haze and stuff happening, right? So you might not get as much atmosphere, and I don't always like to push that completely. I feel like sometimes it's just an easy crutch to fall back on. Similar to rim light, like I had to really push myself to stop rim lighting everything. But in key art, it's like that's always the solve, right? They're like, oh, just rim light it. That'll pop it out against the background, and it's so easy. And when you're up against the clock, cool. Let's do it. Let's take the easy way out. But man, after a while, it's like, oh my god, it feels like such a cheap trick. I just can't do it anymore. And so I've really made an effort to stop just rim lighting the shit out of everything. As fun as it is, and hey, if you can create a lighting situation where that works, cool. do it, and it looks amazing, right? I'm out of tea punch. Sad day. Oh, you're pissing me off. I don't have a good clip to keep this thing there. I need to get like, I don't know what, because this thing doesn't work because then it sits too far onto the page, right? This band. If I were to wrap it around, it would sit too far there. And a lot of clips, they're too heavy, right? So it would kick this up. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. We could try it. Whoa. As long as I don't knock shit over. That's not bad. That ain't bad. Here. So, at least it makes my life a little easier. And then I'll just use this black just to punch up some of the like little accent areas. It doesn't really matter. All it's really serving to do is bring them forward more, right? Like, it doesn't matter entirely what details it's depicting here. It's just saying, hey, they're much closer. So I feel like there is potentially a nice simplicity in this. We might actually bring our T3 into this just to simplify that a little bit, you know. Obviously I'd fine-tune this because those clouds would be going in and out in terms of darker, lighter, all that stuff. Like, they wouldn't necessarily be all one. We'd get into different layers and all that shit, assuming I'm really in the mood to paint clouds. No, clouds are fun. I have no desire to do a painting where it's like, it's all about the clouds, necessarily. Unless it was a cool dragon painting, and then maybe I would. What's up, Jay-Z? How you doing, dude? Yeah, I'm thumbnailing ideas for something I want to paint next. So we did this. We started with this, which I still love. So I may still use this, but maybe for something different. I don't know. There's something that I'm really enjoying about this one. So, but maybe I'll get a very different vibe here. Like maybe it's not that kind of a ship. It could be an older ship. Maybe it's not a ship. Maybe there's something else over on the horizon. I don't know. But then we did this one, and then I thought, you know what? This could be cooler graphically if we drop that horizon line down and change a couple things. So that's what we did here. And I like this a lot more. Jay-Z, you're allowed to take a break. It's okay. He's probably on Autumn's stream anyway. But you're allowed to take a break. So don't worry. If he has a problem with it, you send him to me. So, yeah, there's something there. Something to it. And I have other ideas for other images I want to do, but not necessarily mermaid based. Debating if I want to explore any of those, but I don't have those quite as clear in my head. With those, it's really just a mood and a concept, but again, in terms of mood, not the actual image. Yes, he is. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to thumbnail out something else, because I really don't have an idea for them. I was trying to order, so I have these 3 different Pilot Falcon pens. These are the same pen, it's just red and black, just so I know which one has which ink. But this one has the nice Spencerian modification on the nib that makes it more, like it's already an extra fine, but it makes it more fine and gives it more flex to the nib. Right? It's more flexible, gives me more variety of line weight. This has the standard nib that comes with the pen. This one is a Pilot Falcon Custom 912 is what it's called. You can see it's actually called the Custom 912. And this one does have a customized nib as well. Gives it more flex. But it doesn't go as fine as this one does. So I wanted to get the modification on this one to match this. But still, with all the COVID stuff, they're not doing changes. They're only doing stuff on new orders. And the guy who grinds down the nibs, who specializes in that, is going on vacation for a couple months. So I have to be patient. But it sucks because I love this ink, right? This is the one we've been drawing with the ancient copper ink. And this, right now, I have the platinum carbon ink, the waterproof stuff, so I can't use that. But if we not TOS friendly, sort of acceptable for TOS. But so like this one, sorry it's sideways, you'll have to turn your head. You know, the line variety. I love the range of marks that I can get, and that's with this nib. But this has black ink, and it's just not quite as cool as this ink. 2018. That was when I last used this book. It's been sitting in the closet. Gotta find a nice Jewish deli in LA. You know, somehow I don't think that'll be too hard. Jay-Z, you're not too far from like the Jewish section if you just head down Highlands till you hit Beverly. It'd be a hell of a walk though. And then just head west on Beverly for a little while. Yeah. Anyway, so oh, that was a fun one. 'Twas fun. Um. So then the other stuff we were talking about potentially is some crazy dragon summoning shenanigans, right? And considering reworking that Sea Dragon one, I don't have oh yeah, those damn scooters. But yes, you could totally use one of those. So considering reworking this, I like this one. And honestly, there's probably not a whole lot that I would change. I'd change a few of the design things on the dragon. But I mean, I gotta say, I love how the rocks and stuff turned out on this one. I love the painterliness, and yet it just captures the feeling that I wanted. So thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I was talking about maybe doing, like, working on a series of basically, like, dragon summoners. You know? Sorcerers and sorceresses summoning different types of dragons. And I like this dragon, but again, there are things I would kind of rework with it, I think. But I don't think I would change the composition all that much, because I really like how that composition ended up. One thing I toyed with was possibly shifting the camera so that the dragon would be facing us a little more directly, but I don't know, man. Like, they look coolest when they're a 3/4 profile, in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd want it facing us, but there are other dragons to play with too, not just that one. But I don't have any clear ideas of what those might be, other than some general climates. You know, I did like the idea of something in the desert. Um, and getting those cool rock formations, right? In my mind, it's all like different. It's almost like witch hunts gone bad, you know, like witch hunts from around the world, where the guys totally thought they had the spellcaster dead to rights, and then they're like, oh shit, never mind. So this dude's like, I don't know, kind of got these voluminous clothes and cloaks, Bedouin style kind of thing, and he's up on the rocks, and you know, so then maybe we'll get one dude here, he's like, no, because remember, we're gonna have a dragon. He's like, oh shit. And then this dude's got spear here. This dude's here. Maybe we've got a couple more guys. Some other dudes freaking out as we have like some big right on. Well, I'm glad. Big boy. It'd be fun. You could get, who knows where he summoned him from, but you could get sand. I'm thinking of like that scene in Fury Road when he, after the giant, you know, sandstorm, and he comes up out of the sand, you just have all that sand pouring off of him. That's kind of what I'm thinking on a much larger scale. Big cascade of sand falling off this dragon as it rises out of wherever he summoned him from. And who, does he have wings or not? He could be one of the landlocked ones, which kind of makes sense if he's like some kind of a desert dwelling creature. I don't mind the idea of him not having wings. He's just here. Like a more kind of squat form, like a bearded dragon or something like that. Not, the little lizards, but I love their shapes. But who knows? Obviously, that's always something I can play with down the road. Got this like bulldog kind of, Yeah, started doodling another scene here. Talking about our dragon summoners and being like, what else could we do? This guy coming up out of the earth in the desert. These poor fools don't know it hit them, or what's about to. But I mean, rough idea. I can let's let that dry a little bit, and then we can. So switching pens here, this ink that I just laid down is waterproof when it dries. This ink is not. He's like, no, don't eat me. Too late, bro. Shouldn't have been throwing shade at the sorcerer if you didn't want to get it. Right? Water. Raid from the arts department. Is it that time already? You called it quick, bro. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. We're thumbnailing stuff. Gorkune. Gorko Unit. Thank you for the follow. Burger face. Welcome, my friends. How's it going? We are, we've been doodling, we've been thumbnailing ideas for potential illustrations. Anyone new here? Well, if you know what Autumn does, then you know what I do for a living, because we do the same thing. Illustrator, sketch artist, and advertising. I am currently just trying to, I just want to kind of like develop some stuff that I can turn into some bigger illustrations. So Dragon Summoners is one thing that we're doing. We did Mermaids previously, which I will show momentarily. Autumn, how's your stream, dude? How's your stream? I'm tired too, and I'm considering getting up early to get some shit done, so I might call it earlier than usual tonight, but we'll see. What did you work on, man? Anything you want to show? Please do, if you would like to. We're going to have to maybe reinforce our little dude there so he doesn't get lost in the... Although it would be fun in the actual piece if value-wise he did kind of sink back there, but maybe we could give him some like punched-up colors in his clothing that would make him pop out against the sand that's like falling off this big dragon. Yeah, so I had done this piece. Yeah, it's great for thumbnailing. It really is, and then it allows me to get the camera closer up on it so you guys can see more of the details and shit. So I'd done this piece a while ago, quite a while ago. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. And I kind of want to blow it out into other dragon summoners. Let's see what Autumn did. Oh, nice. Nice. I like that one on the upper left. I'm a sucker for a variety of mark making sizes. And then the eyeball sack. That's pretty rad. Right on, dude. Jentaru-sama, thank you for the follow. Really quick, I shall show you. So we started with this, right? Mermaid concept, which I still really like, but I'll probably tweak some stuff. But I love I'm still liking the composition a lot. Let me close this pen so I don't go making marks on places I don't mean to with waterproof ink. I dig this. Then we did this one, which I also like. I like, again, the ship on the horizon. Mermaid out there being like, holy shit, there's a ship on the horizon. That's not good. And they're all like, wait, what? What's going on? But then I was like, I feel like it would be stronger if I dropped the horizon line from a graphic design standpoint and tweak some things and blah, blah, blah. So then we ended up there, which I also really like. And then Shadowwalk mentioned that she could totally picture the Bella Noire scene happening right now on the ship, right? Which is maybe why the ship doesn't see the mermaids yet or something. So I love that idea too, but then I was like, that's where I felt, oh, well, then this would have to be kind of in the Caribbean because that's where I feel Bella Noire is. Which is fine. I initially was thinking this would be more like Northern Californian coastline, that kind of a thing, but I'm also cool with it being in the Caribbean. Either way, could be fun. So that's what we've done thus far. Yeah, so that was actually why I was like, oh yeah, we could do that so that, we have that bright strip along the horizon with the clouds and stuff. Because originally I wasn't totally thinking sunset, though I was thinking, a little more dramatic lighting. But then, like, when we were talking about maybe that's Bella Noire's ship, and it's like, okay, yeah, we could do that golden hour kind of thing. Could be fun. And I have no issues, like, tying those worlds together. I think that could be cool. Could be cool. Thanks. Wait, I missed a bunch here. Station about the boobs on the right. Because they were made of an illusion because they're so supported. Whatever, she's got like underwires somewhere in there. Oh, there were pirates all throughout the Caribbean. Or you mean up in Northern California? There are no pirates. I don't know that there were by the time they were settling there. I mean, I wasn't literally thinking Northern California. I was just thinking that type of coastline, right? Like, I'm not actually trying to place it in a real place. It's more just that kind of climate and those types of rocks and stuff. So realistically, it could be anywhere. Hey, thanks, Shadowwalk. I'm glad you could hang out. Always a pleasure. I'm gonna just bring out our little dude a little bit more here. Who dat? Rick2885, thank you for the follow. And I should move this stuff so I can actually read things. How about that? Nodak Smack. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, I was thinking like these different dragon summoners, and as I was kind of pondering these different notions, I was like, oh man, it would be almost like witch hunts gone wrong from around the world. Like all these people are trying to whatever burn the sorcerers or burn the witches or wizards or whatever, and then they think they've got them cornered, but no. Dragon has other ideas. So and dragon beats witch hunter. So yeah, there's something fun in there. I can dig it. Oh. Let's stretch a little bit, shall we? Just because. Just because. Thank you, Jintaru-sama. There's something fun in there. And at some point, I'll probably do some kind of a more I don't know if I would do a more graphic kind of approach, profile of some kind, not of this scene necessarily, but what happened to our music? Oh, this one's really quiet. No, Jay-Z, I already finished my tea punch, so it was rum tonight. And I don't know what our sand dragon would look like. What would our sand dragon look like? Because there it looks like, kind of like he's got a small, or like a short neck, like a lizard, but I'm a purist. I like most of my dragons to have longer necks, because that shit's fun. So, I don't know. I'm thinking a shorter wedge-like. No, the song gets very dramatic. As good as Gata sings, it gets very, it's long and very dramatic. Like I said, a little bit of the bearded dragon kind of vibe, right? Where they have those big jaw muscles. I have to do that on dragons. One of these days, I will do a different kind of dragon. But for now, we're sticking with the big jaguar jaws. Because I like them. But let's say it doesn't have a terribly long neck. It still has a long neck, but not like terribly long. We'll give it and of course I always tend to go rather feline with my Bug78, thank you for the follow. With my dragon anatomy, I always do it. I can't help it. Wingless dragon, though. This one's a wingless dragon. Climbing over the rocks. This is a pilot falcon with a customized nib. The nib has a Spencerian modification on it, so it's ground down to have a bit more flex. Now the Pilot Falcon has some flex normally, but not as much as this one has. This one, like, you know, just being able to get that line variety is amazing, and I'm a complete sucker for it. So much so that I am willing to drop about $300 on a pen to have it, because yeah. Upside is it'll last me my whole life as long as I don't fuck up the nib. Right? As long as I take care of it, it will last forever. So that $300, you get your money's worth pretty quick. If you use it as much as I do. And it's like my favorite pen to draw with, so it gets mileage. It's either this or a brush pen, or both together. Not at the same time, but you know. Well, luckily I don't have kids, and my cat doesn't like pens, or doesn't care about pens, I should say. But yeah, if I lost this pen, I would be very, very sad. That would that would be a bad day. I was saying earlier that I was trying to get, because I have another Pilot Falcon, but it's just the standard one, which I think these are around 120, 140 or something like that, just for the standard EF. But they don't have as much flex, so I contacted the place that I got this nib from to see if they were doing any others yet, because of COVID, you know, they had stuff locked down for a while. And they still kind of do while they catch up on things. So I was just like, man, because I have different ink in that one, right? I have this ancient copper ink in that one, which is not waterproof, where this ink is waterproof, but it's still a fountain pen ink. So it has a nice flow to it, but yeah. But yeah, I love this pen just because of the control that I have, where I can really mess with the line weight on it, you know. And then you can turn it over on the back and do broader marks if you want it, kind of, you know, get some bolder shapes in there, right? And that can be fun. Just a lot of variety with this pen that you might not quite be able to get with other pens. So it's a nice it's a nice one to play with. It is. It's a tough sell if you're not sure how much you're going to use it. For me, what it was that I was already using like a steel nib, right? A dip pen, a bunch. And I was just like, I want to be able to get that line quality, but you know, if I'm out at like sketching at a coffee shop or something, right? Or traveling, and I don't want to have to worry about an inkwell that someone might bump and knock over, right? So I had really searched around for something that would work, and I found the Pilot Elabo, which is just, I think, the U.S. version of the Pilot Falcon or the Pilot Namiki. And so I got that, and I loved the pen, which is actually this one before I found nibs.com, where they did custom nibs. And I was like, what? And when I saw that they did one for the Falcon that was more flexible, I was just like, I want that. So that's what I did. And I have never regretted it. But again, I knew I was going to use it, right? And it was better than I actually thought it was going to be. I figured it would be awesome, but as soon as I actually used it, I was just like, what is this? A little slice of rhodium heaven. So, anyway. I don't want to turn the page yet because a bunch of that is still wet. It kind of sits on the top of this paper. It doesn't absorb into it right away, so it takes a little longer to dry. And it's wet enough that if I turn it over, it'll kind of just smear on this, and I don't want it to do that. Not that I actually mind if a little bit of ink smudges. I do that deliberately. Speaking of, we can. Why not? A little bit of variety. A little variety in our mark making. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? Why not? Actually, let's bring out. Let's do a little bit of that. A little bit. Anyway. Yeah, Viscera. Battlestar score is amazing. I like all 4 seasons too, plus The Plan and Razor. So like 5 albums of awesomeness. It's pretty rad. Dudes, I think I'm gonna call it. Try and get to bed before midnight tonight. But let's see. Who should we raid? Let's raid. I don't know if he's doing. Raid Meg Animation. I always dig her stuff. She's doing some fun stuff. Although, maybe Trevino. I just don't know if he's doing an English stream or a Spanish stream today. So we'll find out. He might be doing a Spanish stream today, in which case this might get awkward. But if he's not, then it could be cool because he's a badass. So here we go. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'll be back Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here. I will see y'all then. Thanks for hanging out. Let's give Trevino Art a big hello. All right, guys. Peace.